Hey guys, Kamina the coach here. Always got something going on while I'm driving. I had to do this video because so this group originally was created while I was still working and living overseas. I worked and lived overseas for almost a decade in 8 different countries as an educator in some form of capacity. I've done that in several different ways. Several different capacities, not always just a teacher. In 2020, when I was forced back to the United States, I rededicated the channel to really focusing on healing adoption trauma and early childhood trauma. However, today is June 28th, 2022, and we've just had people were believing that things were going to go back to quote-unquote normal after Barack Obama's presidency, after Trump's presidency, after the riots on January 6th, or after the uprising on insurrection on January 6th, after COVID. People are still waiting to go back to normal, but then the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. So I've had this influx of people trying to join my educators group. So I have an educators group, Americans of Color Teaching Abroad, to help African American teachers figure out how to get their stuff together to go overseas. So this video, so I've had an influx of requests, and a lot of these people, so back up. This video is in response to all of those people who are career changing to education to go overseas, and people who are getting a 120-hour online TEFL certificate to go teach overseas. So I deny all those people into the group. So first of all, let me say to people, to veteran educators, I salute you. I've been in the game 12 years, and that doesn't even come close to what you guys have been doing. Like, I have friends that have been in the trenches over 20 years. I know that there are some educators in my group that have been in education over 30, 40 years. So hats off to you, ladies and gentlemen, or whatever you decide to assign yourself as. Hats off to you. I salute you. Really. Being an educator, especially being an educator for that amount of time, is really, really something special. So, when I first started, having said all that, when I first started, I only had an undergraduate degree in criminal justice, and that's it. I had substitute teaching experience in what training the district had given me for a substitute teacher, which isn't much, and that's pretty much all I had to go on. Students received me well. Were they learning? How do you assess if students are learning when you have 5 classes of 60 students? That's why I started off in China. So, were they learning? I don't know. Bird almost hit my car. I don't know if they were learning or not, but one thing for certain is, so after a bit of time, me being overseas, I could afford to go do a CELTA, because an in-person CELTA really doesn't allow you to work. So it's basically like getting an associate's degree in 6 weeks. It's a lot of work. So I finally did that before I headed to the Middle East to start teaching there. And wow, doing the CELTA showed me how much I did not know about education. In 2020, in the summer of 2020, I got my master's in instructional design and technology, which is a master's in education. And again, not really knowing what I didn't know, and some people are born to be teachers. I believe that. Some people were created to be nurturers, caretakers, like nurses, doctors, teachers. I think that some people were born to be that, yes. Can you do it without any training? Yes. Can you do it to the level can you do it at the level of quality which students deserve and level of quality of which you're capable without any training? No, you can't. And people used to say that in the group, and I used to reject it, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Old school education styles are dead. I know a lot of teachers in the United States are still forced to do it that way. A lot of teachers all over the place are forced to do it that way, especially classroom teachers, K through 12 classroom teachers, because a lot of the funding falls on them. They overload the classrooms. There's just a lot of different reasons why teachers are hindered from being able to apply all the knowledge that they have. But let's just clear something up. Schools were designed originally to prepare kids to work in factories. The whole bell system and the rows of desks, everything about the way. In fact, schools were designed like prisons. The same way, the same structure of a prison, the central unit and then hallways branching off. Schools were designed like prisons. In 100 years, in 200 years, look at how the phone and the television has changed, but the classroom hasn't. Well, it's not because our knowledge hasn't changed. It's because teachers are still teaching the way that we used to 100 years ago. So, is it going to change overnight? No, it's not. But I do believe that students deserve to have a teacher who has the knowledge and the desire to do things that work. So, having said all of that, do I believe that after you've gotten a TEFL certificate, you're qualified to teach someone's most precious gift? No, I don't. I don't believe after a TEFL certificate, especially an online one, that you are qualified to teach someone's most precious gift. My nose is running. Oh, I don't have a tissue. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. Now we're talking about people's most precious gift, their children. Would you want somebody with a TEFL certificate teaching your child? I don't have children, and I'll just speak for myself. I know, especially when I went to ASU for my master's, I was really serious about who my teacher's aides were, and I was a little disgruntled when I got somebody who just had a master's degree. I was like, how can you teach me at a master's level when you only have a master's? So, yeah, if I demand the best, for sure, I feel like kids should have the best as well. Don't get me wrong. I know that there's some garbage teachers out there. I think a lot of that is because they don't get paid enough, they're burnt out, and they don't get any respect. It's my opinion. But there's horrible people out there everywhere. But in general, I think that, yeah, there are horrible teachers because they've been in the classroom a long time and just fighting on the front lines, and they're exhausted. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. Anyways, so if you have applied to join my group for educators and you're not a licensed teacher, by that I mean you've taken in the United States Praxis 1 and 2 and you've been issued a license by your state to teach something, you're not welcome in this group. If you are a PhD who's been teaching at university level, okay, I can see that. principals as well, of course. But somebody who just is either career changing to go overseas, career changing to education to go overseas, or just getting your TEFL. I'm sorry, I will not cheapen what educators do, and I will not take away from that, and I won't take part in putting unqualified people in classrooms. I know that it's going to happen whether I allow it in my group or not, but I'm not going to be part of it. That's just part of my integrity and my belief system. So once again, veteran teachers, fresh graduate teachers, all teachers, I salute you, ladies and gentlemen. You are the backbone of society. If you want to get out of the United States to someplace where you can actually make a livable wage, be safe and appreciated, hit me up. Join the group Americans of Color Teaching Abroad on Facebook. If you need some help in getting ready, I'll dedicate some time to you if you'd like. Just reach out, Kamina the Coach with a K @gmail.com. So until next time, wishing you love, light, peace, and joy.